Alrighty, I wanted to make a quick video on using golf rangefinders for hunting. I bought this pretty nice Vortex Blade rangefinder for golf, and I one day I was like, man, my hunting rangefinder kind of sucks. It's an ancient Redfield. I was like, I wonder if I can use this for hunting. So I did some research. Didn't really find much online. People using them for both. But I called Vortex. One, they were super helpful. They told me you can absolutely use these for hunting, but they even made a podcast on it. So you can check out the Vortex Nation podcast. And they talk about this rangefinder, but they also talk about how it can be dual use. And I've been out here ranging some livestock of my neighbors. I've actually been fairly impressed and I've been doing um, some reflective targets too. So on its face, this rangefinder, again, it's the Blade by Vortex. It's good out to 1,400 yards on reflective targets, and then when I talked to Vortex, they were saying around 900 to 1,000 on trees, non-reflective targets. Um, I've been able to do about 1,200 reflective. Um, I I don't know that I have any 1,400 yard targets out here that I could reflect off of. They could be over 15, 1,600 yards. So it's a little hard saying. But shooting a couple targets at 12, over 1,200 yards seemed to work just fine. I was able to get some non reflective targets, cattle, horses, out to about 800, although it did take a couple tries. It wasn't instant. Um, in talking to the Vortex guys, they were telling me that this is the same lasers in some of their hunting optics. They didn't tell me which ones. I'm guessing the really high end ones have obviously a more powerful laser. Um, but in my use, it's worked just fine. There are some downsides, and there are some maybe some benefits as to why you might want to buy this golf one over the hunting ones, and I think we'll talk about that a little. One, these have a magnet on them, so when you're golfing, you can just stick this to the inside of the golf cart and then range your targets really easy, really handy. This magnet is super strong, and I couldn't help but think. Maybe for your Texas hog hunters or people hunting out of UTVs, ATVs, doing pest control, it might be really nice. Just slap it on the handlebars or in your roll cage, something like that. Um, so yeah, it was kind of interesting. I just thought that maybe there's some hunters out there that need a magnetic rangefinder, especially if you're not using a bino pack like this or something like that, hunting out down in Texas or the South. Um, this does have some golf specific features. Luckily, you can turn them off. It has a pin seeking mode, so when you're golfing, you obviously want to get your ball as close to the pin as on the green as possible. Um, when you're lasing the pin, it will vibrate. Um, you can turn that off. So as I have this configured right now, it is just a rangefinder. This is the little lower end model, so I don't have slope or anything like that. And from talking to Vortex, I don't believe the slope on the golf and a hunting scenario is really compatible. They made it the way they made it seem. 6x magnification, 6.5 ounces. Um, you have still the VIP warranty, so no worries there. Shockproof, waterproof. Um, the only other thing I didn't really like about the magnet is if I am, I have this in my pouch. I did test this a couple times, and I have my compass and map out. This magnet will absolutely um, cause some incorrect readings with my compass. And I tested it. Yeah, right now it's pointed right towards it. Um, I tested it. You gotta get about a foot away for it to draw off. So I think if you are one of the few hunters out there still using a map and compass, I would highly suggest one that you recognize that, hey, I'm gonna get some interference, but two, maybe put it in your backpack. I tested it. It wasn't it wasn't strong enough to pull from a backpack, so I think you're good there. Some other cons might be if I were to keep my compass in the side pouch here, I might negatively affect my compass. I could even damage my compass, being that's a really strong magnet. I don't really want to do that. My compasses are expensive, so I gotta be careful where I keep my compass with this rangefinder. 2 pacemaker. I think you'd be surprised how many people have pacemakers out there. I would not have this on me if I had a pacemaker on my chest. They even say like stuff like this: magnetic flaps, no pacemakers, not recommended. Some other downsides, like I said, no angle finder on this one. There's no provisions for a tripod mount, so that's kind of a bummer. I did find on my Bog Death Grip, it goes. This is fat enough to where I can clamp onto it with my Death Grip, so I can use that for ranging still. Pretty convenient. The only other thing I really don't like about this is the reticle is black. I noticed in some low light situations you might have some issues there. However, the glass clarity is still superb with this in low light situations. So just something to think about. I like how this has become absolutely dual purpose. I do use this when I'm golfing, and now I'm going to start using it more when I'm hunting. I've only taken it out on one trip. This past hunting season, I took my mule deer with it, so I did range a mule deer at like 25 yards for some handgun hunting. That being said, the minimum distance is 7 yards. So for you archery hunters, this should be just fine, or a handgun hunter like myself. So that's it. Kind of some interesting things about it. Just wanted to share, so maybe you don't have to call it Vortex. So yeah, I definitely think that you can absolutely use your golf range finders in the field. So something to think about.